The arrival of the impossible something appeared in the earliest, most hidden corners of the universe. Something so unusual, so compact, and so overwhelmingly luminous that it shook the very foundation of cosmology. When the James Webb Space Telescope aimed its golden mirrors toward the very edge of time itself, it captured an image unlike anything science had ever seen. Countless red dots. Not random, not scattered by chance. They glowed like dying embers scattered across a cosmic ocean. But these weren't stars. And they weren't galaxies as we understood them. No, they were something else. Something that, by every law of physics, should not exist. They broke the rules of gravity. They shattered the limits of structure. They defied the way light behaves. They even challenged our understanding of time itself. For more than 2 years, these mysterious crimson points haunted astronomers. They whispered of a hidden truth. That the universe in its infancy may have followed a different script, a set of rules alien to the physics we know today. And as new data arrived, a chilling possibility began to form. What if reality itself was different at the dawn of time? What if the young cosmos was governed not by order, but by something raw, chaotic, and untamed? It began, as so many great discoveries do, with what seemed like a glitch. In late 2022, Webb's detectors recorded images filled with faint, glowing sparks. They were tiny, and yet impossibly bright, far brighter than anything their size should allow. At first, some scientists assumed they were simply distant galaxies, stretched and reddened by cosmic expansion. But they weren't. These objects were red not because of distance, but because they were smothered in thick cocoons of cosmic dust. Dust so dense, so all-consuming, that it swallowed every other wavelength of light and left behind only a crimson glow. And here was the true shock. These strange dots weren't rare. They were everywhere, appearing in almost every deep field image Webb took. But when astronomers measured their distances, the results were staggering. These objects weren't from the middle of cosmic history. They existed a mere 600 million years after the Big Bang. And then, just 1 billion years later, they vanished completely. A cosmic spark. A brief flame in an ocean of eternity. And in that short-lived window, they multiplied across the skies, appearing in numbers that defied every theory. What were they? Why were they so powerful? And how could something so small, so compact, hold the strength of an entire galaxy? At first, scientists thought they must be miniature galaxies, dense early cousins of giants like the Milky Way. But the math refused to agree. Their light was too strong. Their calculated masses were far too great. Their sizes, just 1% the width of our galaxy, yet filled with enough stars to rival the largest known structures. That kind of density should have been fatal. Stars would crash into stars. Explosions would rip them apart. Collapsing black holes would swallow them whole. By all reasoning, these objects should have destroyed themselves. And yet, they endured. The paradox was undeniable. The universe's own laws seemed to say, these things cannot exist, but Webb was no liar. The red dots were real. And that reality began to tear holes in our theories. Some astronomers speculated they might be signatures of dark matter, or perhaps the result of strange, unknown particles. Others dared to suggest exotic physics, new forces, hidden dimensions, or even remnants from a universe that existed before the Big Bang itself. And then came the most radical theory of all. Perhaps these weren't galaxies at all. Perhaps they were something far more terrifying. They were monsters. Primordial, supermassive black holes, born absurdly fast, growing impossibly large, and buried deep beneath oceans of dust and gas. The little red dots weren't glowing with starlight. They were burning with the fury of accretion disks, rings of matter spiraling into black holes so immense that they warped the very fabric of space and time around them. This explained their compact size. It explained their unnatural brightness. But it raised a far darker mystery. How could black holes so massive appear so early in cosmic history? In today's universe, Black holes are a fraction of their galaxy's mass. But here, in these ancient red dots, the black holes were the galaxies. This turned cosmic history upside down. Maybe galaxies didn't create black holes. Maybe black holes created galaxies. And if that is true, then the early universe wasn't a place of gradual growth and order. It was a violent explosion of complexity, driven by gravitational engines unlike anything we see. Monsters in the early universe, but bold theories alone weren't enough. Astronomers needed proof, evidence written directly into the light of these mysterious objects. And they found it, hidden in hydrogen. When Webb analyzed the emission lines, the hydrogen bomber signals were far too broad, stretched far beyond expectation. In astrophysics, that widening has only one explanation: motion. Gas moving at incredible, almost unimaginable speeds. The only way this could happen was if the gas were orbiting something with immense gravity. And in every case, the answer was clear: black holes. Not small ones, but giants. Gas was swirling 10 times faster than it does around the black hole at the center of our own galaxy. No cluster of stars could account for that. These weren't young galaxies. They were black hole engines. And that changed everything. Instead of galaxies giving birth to black holes, perhaps black holes came first. Perhaps galaxies were shaped around them like shells forming around a core. If true, the early universe wasn't calm, orderly, or slow to grow. It was explosive, chaotic, and dominated by gravitational monsters unlike anything we see today. But another mystery remained. Why didn't these objects shine with X-rays, the classic fingerprint of black holes? The answer was simple, yet chilling. Their radiation never escaped. Thick cocoons of dust and gas trapped the energy, smothering the X-rays before they could reach us. This silence had hidden an entire era of cosmic growth. A missing chapter when black holes fed unseen, quietly building the massive cores of galaxies that now fill the universe. And then, they vanished. Every red dot disappeared from the cosmic record just 1.6 billion years after the Big Bang. What became of them? The leading idea is that they transformed into quasars, brilliant galactic hearts revealed once their dusty cocoons burned away. Others may have exhausted their fuel, collapsing into quieter, darker forms. Whatever the case, nothing like them exists today. They belonged to a vanished era, a time of unchecked growth, a time when the universe bent its own rules to forge new realities. And yet, there are echoes. In the more recent universe, astronomers discovered strange compact galaxies nicknamed green peas. Different in color, yes, but eerily familiar in their behavior. High density, intense light, short lifespans. Could they be the cousins of those early monsters? Or echoes of the same physics, playing out again in another cosmic age? If little red dots existed then, and green peas exist now, how many other hidden phases of cosmic evolution have come and gone, unseen and undocumented? The James Webb Telescope is revealing more than distant light. It is exposing shadows, remnants of realities our models never predicted. The little red dots weren't supposed to exist. Yet they did. And by existing, they rewrote the rules of creation itself. They remind us that physics may not be broken, only wider, stranger, and more mysterious than we imagined. The early universe was not gentle. It was a wild frontier of chaos, a place where galaxies were torn into shape, and black holes dictated the pace of evolution. And now we are left with one haunting question: